Welcome to In the Tradition, the 38th Annual National Black Storytelling Festival and Conference Adopt-A-Teller program. I'm Deborah the Storyteller here in Atlanta, and I'm ready to weave a web of stories. Now when you think about it, stories are all around us, everywhere we look. You have a story, I have a story, every day. Stories are not just in books, but they are in the music we listen to, in the videos and programs on television that we watch. Stories are our history, and every culture has a history. And when you look at the word history, it's actually two words, his and story. But it could be his story, her story, my story, or your story. So I made up a song about stories and history, and I want you to help me. We can clap 3 times like this. If you want to tap your shoulders, or pat your lap, or use your rhythm sticks, like me. So here we go. His story, his story, his story, her story, my story, your story, his story, his story. All around the nation, all around the world, stories are about boys and girls, men and women, me and you. We can create some stories too. His story, his story. Go tell it on the mountain, over the hills and everywhere. Go tell it on the mountain. You've got a story to tell everybody. His story, his story, his story, her story, my story, your story, his story, his story, his story, history. Yeah. Okay, so I'm going to be sharing some of my favorite animal tales, and I'm going to start with one called Harambe and Sekulu by the Zambezi River. Now, the Zambezi River is one of the longest rivers in Africa. It's the 3rd longest river in Africa. And all I really know about it is that it's a long river. What kind of river is it? A long river. Now, we all know that water is important to all of us. We drink water. We use water to cook, to bathe, to water our plants and crops. But in this story, we're going to find out another way that somebody uses water. Now, this story is really important to me because it's actually the story of the Good Samaritan. And it talks about how sometimes we help strangers in need. So here we go. Once there was a spider named Sekulu, and there was a hippopotamus named Harambe. And though it's an unlikely pair, these two were good friends. So every day they went down to the river to play. And sometimes Sekulu would get on Harambe's back, and they would play and splash in the water. And when they did, they would also sing. We like water, yes we do, yes we do, yes we do. We like water, yes we do, all day long. And so the two would play and play and play in the water all day long. Now also at the river, there were other animals that went to the water. Sometimes there would be a fish. Well, many times, because that's where fish live, in the water. So this particular fish would go to the water and he'd swim upstream. That's what he enjoyed doing. Also at the river, there would be birds. And this particular bird would jump up and down in the water on one foot as he fished. That's what he liked to do. And then at the river, there was also the elephant, the big, burly elephant. And when he went to the water, he liked to splash himself and bathe himself with water all day long. Now, also at the river, sometimes there was an old woman. She would go to the water every other day or so to wash her clothes. And as she did, she would sing. This is the way I wash my clothes, wash my clothes, wash my clothes. This is the way I wash my clothes all day long. But one day, she was washing her clothes, and she tripped and knocked over her basket, and her clothes started floating down the river. So she screamed for help. Help! Help! What did she say? That's right. She screamed for help. Well, the Zambezi is a long river, and even though Harambe and Sukulu were way at the other end, they heard the old woman's screams for help, and they said, "Here we come, we'll help you," and they started running as fast as they could. But remember, it was a long river, so it was going to take them a minute to get to her. So, being an old woman, she could only move so fast, but as she walked, she sang. And the first animal she got to was the fish, and she sang, "I'm an old woman, I cannot run, while washing my clothes in the morning sun. My clothes are floating away, you see. Oh please, won't you please help me?" Well, the fish heard her cries, but the fish said, "Oh woman, your clothes are floating downstream. I swim upstream. I don't have time to help you." And he just swam on by. Well, the nerve. So the old woman didn't want to give up because those were her clothes and she wanted them back. She needed them. So she kept going. "I'm an old woman, I cannot run, while washing my clothes in the morning sun. My clothes are floating away, you see. Oh please, won't you please help me?" Well, the next animal she came to was the bird. While jumping up and down on one foot, he said, "Oh woman, I don't have time to help you. I'm trying to catch that fish." And he hopped on by. Well, she had to keep going because she had to get to her clothes. So once again, she started walking and singing. Here we go. "I'm an old woman, I cannot run, while washing my clothes in the morning sun. My clothes are floating away, you see. Oh please, won't you please help me?" Finally, she came to the elephant, and she said, "Oh, Mr. Elephant, will you help me?" And the elephant, with his long nose, just continued to splash and bathe, splash and bathe. And he said, "Oh, woman, I haven't time to help you. I'm taking a bath." Well, finally, the old woman had made it halfway downstream, and Harambe and Sukulu had made it halfway downstream. They met in the middle, and Harambe and Sukulu had gathered up all of the woman's clothing. They gave them to the woman, and she was so thankful. She said, "Here, take these gifts." She gave them wonderful, beautiful tokens of appreciation, and they said, "Ooh, ah, thank you." What did they say? That's right. Well, when the other animals saw that the old woman had given them gifts, they hung their heads in shame because they couldn't believe that they had been rewarded for what they did. So tell me, why do you think Harambe and Sukulu helped the old woman? Was it just for the gifts? Was it because she was old and couldn't get the clothes herself? Or is it because it was the right thing to do? Well, yes, boys and girls, helping those in need is the right thing to do. But before you help a stranger, you need to check with your parents, because we always have to be aware of stranger danger. So in general, the Good Samaritan does help strangers in need, but be sure to check with mom and dad first. So that's the story of Harambe and Sukulu by the Zambezi River. And you can find out more about this story at where? Your local library. That's right. My next story is about a tortoise who had a dream. And sometimes at night I have dreams. And sometimes I dream about things that really happened. But sometimes I dream about imaginary things. Well, the tortoise had a dream about a tree. It was a fruit tree. But what made it different is that it was a magic fruit tree because it had all the most delicious fruits that you could ever think of on one tree. Well, my favorite fruit is mango, and there were mangoes on that tree. Tell me what some of your favorite fruits are. Bananas, I like bananas too. Lots of fiber. Strawberries, oh, those are so juicy. And pineapples, those are juicy too. Kiwi, oh, kiwi is also my favorite. Pomegranates, oh my goodness, all of those fruits and more were on that one tree. So when Tortoise woke up the next morning after having dreamt about the tree, he wanted to know where to find it. He had never seen such a tree anywhere. So he asked his friend Lion. He told Lion all about his dream and asked Lion if he knew where to find the tree. Well, Lion, with a mighty roar, said, "No, I don't. Let's ask another animal in the jungle." And so they decided to ask Giraffe. So they told Giraffe all about Tortoise's dream. But sadly, Giraffe didn't know where to find the magic tree either. But he suggested, let's ask Ostrich. So they called Ostrich, and they told Ostrich all about the dream. But Ostrich didn't know. Ostrich said, let's ask the wise woman. There was a woman in the village who knew everything. She was the wisest woman in the whole village. So they went to the wise woman and they told her about Tortoise's dream, about the magic tree, and they asked her, is there such a tree? And if so, where do we find it? Well, the wise woman said, of course I know about the tree. I'm the wise woman and I know everything. But to find the tree, you have to say the magic words. And the magic words are mumbo jumbo. What are the magic words? That's right. So she told all the animals what the magic words were, and Tortoise said, I'm gonna find that tree. But to his dismay, all the other animals said, you can't find the tree, you're too slow. Well, that hurt Tortoise's feelings. But then Ostrich stepped up to the plate and said, I'm gonna find that tree. So he started walking, and as he walked, he said the magic words. Will you help me say the magic words? Here we go. Mumbo jumbo, mumbo jumbo, mumbo jumbo. Whoops! Ostrich tripped. He slipped and he forgot the magic words. Oh no, what am I gonna do? Well, just then, Giraffe said, I'm gonna find that tree. And he started walking and saying the magic words. Will you help me? Mumbo jumbo, mumbo jumbo, mumbo jumbo. Whoops! Oh no, he slipped. I forgot the magic words. What are we gonna do? Well, you know who came to help just then. With a mighty roar, Lion said, I am the king of the jungle, and if anybody can find that tree, it's me. And so he started walking and saying the magic words. Mumbo jumbo, mumbo jumbo, mumbo. Whoops! He slipped, he tripped, and he forgot the magic words. He said, oh no, what are we going to do? And just then, we know who stepped up to the plate. It was Tortoise. Tortoise said, if I want something done, I'm gonna have to do it myself. And he started walking and saying the magic words. Mumbo jumbo, mumbo jumbo. And one by one, all of the other animals followed him, saying the magic words. Mumbo jumbo, mumbo jumbo. And finally, they got to a place in the village and they found it. the magic fruit tree, and it had all the most delicious fruits that you could imagine. There were pomegranates and mangoes and kiwi and oranges and apples. Oh my, delicious. And that is the story of Tortoise's dream. And after they found the magic fruit tree, there was enough to share with everyone. And that is the end of that. But boys and girls, we know that fruits and vegetables are good for you. I like fruits and vegetables so much that I made up a song about it. And it goes like this. I like fruits and vegetables, yes I do. I exercise and drink water too. I eat 5 servings every day. It helps me as I work and play. I like fruits and vegetables, yes I do. And I hope you like them too. Woo! Okay, boys and girls, we know that fruits and vegetables are very healthy for us. So I want you to make sure that you eat right and get your 5 servings every day. And maybe you can even eat some of the fruits that were on Tortoise's tree. Okay, I want to share another story. And this is one of my favorite animal stories. Well, I guess it's not really an animal. It's a spider. And it's my favorite because it's an Anansi story. Now, have any of you ever heard of Anansi the spider? I knew you had. There are a lot of stories in the Anansi series, but this is the story of Anansi and his 6 sons. But before I share the story, let me tell you a little bit about Anansi. Anansi means spider, and the Anansi series was created in Ghana. And Ghana is located in West Africa. It's a folktale about a tricky little spider. That's right. Anansi likes to play tricks on his friends. But Anansi is also very greedy. And sometimes even Anansi is lazy. But in this particular story, Anansi was a hard worker. Now, Anansi is often very clever and cunning. And sometimes he has to get himself out of a mess. So let's listen to the story of Anansi and his 6 sons. Once upon a time, there was a spider named Anansi. Anansi had 6 sons. His first son was called Sea Trouble, and he would always say, I see trouble out there. I'm going to need your help. Can you guys say that? I see trouble out there. Well, his next son was Road Builder, kind of like a carpenter, and he worked to build roads. So put your hands together, and he said, I'm going to work and work and work to build a road. Try it. Work and work and work to build a road. Now his next son was Thirsty Son. What do you think he liked to do? Drink water. Lots and lots of water. Sometimes he would even drink the water in the bathtub. Sometimes he would drink a whole lake. And when he did, he would lean over and take big gulps like this. Gulp, gulp, gulp. Let's try that. Gulp, gulp, gulp. And then he would lean back and say, that was good. Well, his 4th son was called Cutter. Sometimes he liked to cut things with a knife. Sometimes he used his scissors. And he would take his scissors and go, snip, snip, snip. Do that with me. Snip, snip, snip. And then there was his other son, Rock Thrower. Rock Thrower was really strong. He liked playing outside in the woods and the forest a lot. He would pick up rocks and he would swing them round and round and round, and then he would throw them. Let's try that. Pick up your rock, swing it round and round and round, and then there was his youngest son, the baby, and they called him Cushion. And Cushion would just go around saying, ah, ah. Well, one day, Anansi came to his children and he said, I've been working really hard. I'm tired. I need a vacation. I'm going to find a nice place by the lake and go fishing. And so he did. He packed his bags, threw it over his shoulder, and waved goodbye. He said, I'll be back in 7 days, 1 week. How many days? 7 days. That's right. So he threw his knapsack over his shoulder and he left. La 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 la. La 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 la. And he found a nice campground. He said, this looks like a good spot to go fishing. And he pinched his tent. Let me see your tent. And he set up all of his gear. And then he got out his fishing rod, cast it into the water, and he fished. He fished and cooked outside in the open and slept underneath the stars and just enjoyed himself for 7 whole days. Well, while he was gone, his sons were back at the house doing what they do, taking care of the house, working hard. But on the 8th day, See Trouble realized that Dad wasn't back yet. And See Trouble began to wonder, what happened to Dad? Dad said he was going to be back in 7 days, and now it's day number 8. So he looked to the left, he looked to the right, and he looked to the left again, and he said, I think I see trouble out there. Dad's in trouble. What will we do? Well, the brothers really didn't know what kind of trouble it was, but Road Builder said, I'm going to build a road to find him. And he did. He worked and worked and worked to build a road. Can you help me do that? Let's work and work and work to build a road. And after the road was built, he told all of his brothers, come on, let's find Dad. And the 6 brothers walked like this. Oh, we, oh, oh, we. Let's try that together. Oh, we, oh, oh, we. Oh, we, oh, oh, we. And down the road they went until they came to a lake. And when they got to a lake, they noticed that Dad's gear was there. His tent was still up. His fishing rod was laying just by the lake. Well, Thirsty Son walked over to the lake and he leaned over and he looked down, down, down as far as he could, and he said, I think Dad's at the bottom of that lake. I'm going to drink it all. And he did. He pushed up his sleeves. He leaned over as far as he could, and he said, go, go, go. What did he say? Go, go, go. And then he said, that was good. And at the bottom of the lake, Cutter said, look, there's a fish. I bet that fish ate Anansi. So as fast as he could, Cutter got out his scissors and said, snip, snip, snip. Can you guys help me? Get your scissors. Snip, snip, snip. And the fish fell open and Anansi popped out and said, I'm free, thank you. But before they could celebrate, you know what happened? Along came a big bird. Maybe it was an eagle or something, but it was really strong. And it snatched Anansi up and took him away. And Anansi said, help, help, save me. What did Anansi say? That's right. And his son, Rock Thrower, picked up a rock and he wound it round and round and round and threw it at the bird. And it hit the bird in the head. Let's try that together. Pick up a rock, wound it round and round and round, and it hit the bird. And when it did, the bird dropped Anansi. So that was great, but Anansi was falling. What do you think he's going to do now? Well, Anansi screamed, "Help! Help!" What did he scream? That's right. And Cushion, the youngest of Anansi's sons, said, "I'll save you, Dad." And he went this way, and he went that way, and he went this way and that way until he caught Anansi. Anansi was safe. He was saved. And all of his sons said, "Hip, hip, hooray! Hip, hip, hooray!" What did they say? "Hip, hip, hooray! Hip, hip, hooray!" But that's not the end of the story. The title of this story is Anansi and His 6 Sons and How the Moon Came to Be. Well, after he was saved, Anansi was so grateful. He was so thankful. He was so appreciative. He wanted to give a reward to the son who helped him the most. Which one do you think helped him the most? Was it Sea Trouble, who recognized that Dad didn't come home in 7 days? Or was it Road Builder, who built the road to find Dad? No, maybe it was Thirsty Son, who drank the water, and that way they were able to see Dad. But no, if Cutter hadn't have cut open the fish, Dad would have been all digested in the fish's stomach. But what about Rock Thrower? If he hadn't thrown the rock which hit the bird, which made the bird release Anansi, he might have flown away. No. I know it was Cushion. Because if Cushion hadn't have caught Anansi, he would have went splat on the ground. I don't know. I don't know which one helped him the most. I think you guys are going to have to make that decision. You're going to have to discuss it amongst yourselves. Well, to find out what happened, you can go to your local library and you can get the story of Anansi and his 6 sons and how the moon came to be, and let me know how it comes out. I love Anansi stories. They're always so exciting. And I have one more Anansi story. But before I share it, I want to ask you some spider trivia. What do you think is the only continent in the world that does not have spiders? I got another question. What is the fear of spiders? What do you call that? How about this? Can you name a spider for me? Name just one spider. How about this? I got one, and I know you won't be able to tell me the answer to this. How many species, that means different kinds of spiders, are there in the whole world? I'm not going to give you the answer to that either. You're going to have to discuss it amongst yourselves and let me know what you find out. But spider trivia is so much fun. Well, I've had a lot of fun with you today, and it's not over yet. We've got one more story. This story is called Anansi and the Talking Melon. I meant to ask you, what are some of your favorite Anansi stories? Anansi and the Moss-Covered Rock. I like that one too. Anansi and the Talking Stick. Oh yeah, that's one of my favorites. There are so many stories in the Anansi series, but right now, Anansi and the Talking Melon. Now remember, I told you at the beginning that Anansi was sometimes very clever, sometimes very cunning, but he also liked to play tricks on his friends. Well, this is one of those days when Anansi was in a tricky mood. Now Anansi loved to eat, so he snuck down to the garden, to the melon patch, and when nobody was looking, he made a little hole inside a melon, climbed inside, and ate it all. He did that again and again, 2 or 3 times until he was fat and full. But then it dawned on him, I can play a trick on my friends. I'm going to make a little hole in one of these melons, and I'm going to climb inside. And the next person to come by, I'm going to say, hi. And they're going to believe that this melon can talk. Well, that's exactly what he did. He made a hole, climbed inside, and ate out the inside of the melon. And the next person that came by, he said hello. And that was Mr. Elephant. Mr. Elephant was walking by the melon patch, and when he heard someone say, "Hello there, Mr. Elephant," he looked around and said, "Who was that? I hear someone, but I don't see anyone." And he said, "Down here, it's me, the melon." And the elephant looked down and he saw the melon. He said, oh my, that's the most amazing thing I've ever seen. I've got to take this melon to the king." And then he thought, but the king has hundreds of melons. How many melons does the king have? Hundreds of melons. But then Mr. Elephant remembered, not like this. This melon is special. So he picked up the melon and he began walking down the road. Now, can you help me? He was walking down the road to take the melon to the king. Walking down the road to take the melon to the king. Well, on his way to the castle, he came upon Monkey. And Monkey said, "Hey there, Elephant, what you doing? Where are you going? What you got there?" And Elephant was so excited he told him about the talking melon. But of course, Monkey didn't believe that. He said, "Melons don't talk." And he said, "The king has hundreds of melons. Why would you take him this melon?" And Elephant said, "Because like I just said, it talks. It's special." And he held the melon up to Monkey's ear, and the melon said, "Hello there, Monkey." And Monkey said, "You're right, it does talk. Can I go with you?" And Elephant said, "Sure." So you know what they did. They were walking down the road to take the melon to the king. Walking down the road to take the melon to the king. And on the way, they came upon Lion. And Lion said, "Hello there, Monkey. Hello there, Elephant." And he said, "Where are you guys going?" And Monkey said, "We're going to see the king." And Lion said, "Why?" And Monkey said, "Because we've got a melon to take to the king." And of course, you know what Lion says. "The king has hundreds of melons." And Monkey says, "Not like this." Lion said, "What's so special?" And Elephant said, "It's a talking melon." Lion shook his mane and said, "I don't believe it, I don't believe it." They held the melon up to Lion's ear, and the melon said, "Hello there, Lion." And Lion was surprised. He was astonished. He was amazed. And he said, "Wow, that melon really does talk. Can I go?" And the two friends said, "Sure." So all three went walking down the road to take the melon to the king. Walking down the road to take the melon to the king. So when they got to the castle, standing outside was a guard posted to guard the castle, to protect the king. And he said, "Halt! Who goes there?" And Lion said, "It is I, Lion." Monkey said, "It is I, Monkey." And Elephant said, "It is I, Elephant." And the guard just looked. He was confused. He said, "Well, what do you want with the king?" And they said, "We have a melon." And the guard said, "The king has hundreds of melons." Lion said, "Not like this." Monkey said, "This melon is special." And Elephant said, "It's a talking melon." A talking melon. The guard didn't believe it, but he said, "Let me hear." They held it up to his ear, and sure enough, the melon said, "Hello, guard." He was so surprised, he took them right into the throne room to see the king. And there sat the king on his throne. And the guard went up to the king and whispered in his ear. And the king said, "I hear tell that you have something special. A melon? What's so special about a melon? I have hundreds of melons. And Lion said, not like this. And Monkey said, it's special. And Elephant said, it can talk. The king said, a talking melon? I don't believe you. Let me hear. And they took a step forward and they held the melon up to the king's ear, and the king put his ear to the melon, and there was nothing. The king said, I don't hear anything. They said, talk, melon, talk. They held it up to the king's ear again, and he listened with the other ear. Silence. The king said, you're tricking me. What kind of nonsense is this? There's no such thing as a talking melon. Guard, put them out. And the king grabbed the melon from the elephant, and he wound up his hand, and he went to the window, and he threw the melon as far as he could throw it. And the melon crashed and broke into pieces on the ground. And out popped Anansi, the spider. And he laughed and laughed and laughed just as hard and long as he could. And that is the story of Anansi the spider, a trickster from Ghana. Thank you so much. I hope you've enjoyed story time, but please know there are a lot of different Anansi stories from the Caribbean, from Ghana, from various cultures, and you can find Anansi at your local library. Now, boys and girls, before I go, I want to ask you one thing. How many of you out there have library cards? Raise your hand. I see you. Oh, good, good, great. That's good. I see you back there. But you know what? Everyone should have a library card. Library cards are more valuable than credit cards. You know why? Because they're free. And more importantly, they can take you anywhere in the universe just by using your imagination. So boys and girls, I hope next time I see you, everybody has a library card. Keep a story in your heart. And I hope to see you at the 38th Annual National Association of Black Storytellers Festival and Conference. It's virtual, you know. To register, just go to www.nabsvinc.org. That's nabsinc.org. I'm Deborah the Storyteller here in Atlanta, and you can follow me at Word of Mouth Stories. Keep a story in your heart. Bye-bye.